Pakistan's climate change minister speaking to CNA at the COP27 summit in Egypt, calling for a well-defined system for loss and damage payments to nations on the front lines of climate change, and saying the bargain between the global north and the global south is broken. Some frank talk from a nation that has felt the sting of extreme weather. Pakistan's climate change minister spoke just a short time ago to CNA's Julie Yu at the UN-led COP27 summit in Egypt. Sherry Rehman has said that catastrophic floods earlier this year in her homeland left the South Asian nation broken and set it back half a century. The disaster affected 33 million people and killed 1,600. Ms. Rehman is among the voices at climate talks in Sharm el-Sheikh, demanding climate justice from the global north, the so-called loss and damage compensation.
Getting loss and damage on the agenda is very important. It's a message of hope, but it is not enough. There needs to be a facility this year, not 3 years later, in discussions. There needs to be a window, a fund or a facility that actually addresses and starts seeding loss and damage funds. I understand that the G20 is everybody is facing inflationary risks to their lives, and there's a lot of pressure this winter for gas prices, and cost of living expenses are high. But I mean, there's always money for war. The bargain between the global north and the south has to actually work. And this is what this bargain has. I mean, it's broken right now. It's not addressing the accelerated needs of people on the front line of climate stress. Yes, we're very grateful for the support provided, but it should neither be reparations, which is very extreme, or compensation, which is adversarial, doesn't really get you anywhere at a diplomatic or negotiating table, or charity. So the two extremes we don't want to be in. We want these to be part of a predictable, agile, and when in need, series of climate transfers of resources to people who are suffering the loss and damage without being the polluters.
Now, if that money doesn't come through, what does it mean for your country? Are there any contingency plans?
Well, I mean, we'll know for one thing that we're on our own. That's going to be a clear message to countries like Pakistan. But we are not, global denialists. We live in a connected world, and the climate itself tells us we live in a connected world. And the slogan, as you can see on our panels here, is that what goes on in Pakistan will not stay in Pakistan, because if one ecosystem starts dying, it takes down the next and the next. So there's a domino effect, just like the oceans, just like the forest covers, like all the rivers. It's going to come to your doorstep or somebody else's another day, but it's definitely going to come if we carry on this way.
And lastly, Minister, one message to the richer nations.
If you want a bumper sticker, it's act now.
Well, let's cross live now to our team on the ground in Sharm el-Sheikh. CNA TV's Julie Yu standing by with CNA Digital's climate change correspondent, Jack Board. And Julie, it's good to see you after that slight scare last night.
Yes, apologies. I was just a bit dehydrated. My blood sugar level was off, but this is such a huge event, and it's been tough finding food and water, but all is okay. And really sorry to worry everyone, including Jack, poor Jack, and my cameraman Farid and Raj.
Yeah, we're really glad that you are feeling much better today.
Thank you,
now, Julie, just picking up on your interview with Pakistan's climate change minister, Sherry Rehman, she's really been the driver of this loss and damage push here at COP. Now, obviously, it's on the official agenda for the first time, and as the president of the G77, which is this coalition of developing nations, they're seizing the opportunity in the wake of that flood devastation to demand financial assistance from the global north. Those are the countries that are historically responsible for carbon emissions. And we're talking really big sums here. The minister told us that the impacts of climate stress in Pakistan could top $350 billion based on World Bank estimates.
Yeah, that's right. And she says the lives and livelihoods that have been swept away, at the damage of infrastructure and farmland, at the fallout with respect to hunger, waterborne disease, it all adds up to a major bill. And note that the World Bank says that the loss and damage estimate is $33 billion. But you heard her, I mean, she says Pakistan's not interested in an adversarial system. They want this to be an official process that helps pay for the impact of global warming on vulnerable nations.
Right, and the other funding that would help those nations would be money for adaptation. And that's seen as key, given it's almost certain that the average global temperature will rise past this key threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And some of the latest data suggests that that could happen within 10 years. So adaptation would mean preparing communities for more frequent, more extreme wildfires and floods. It also means building more resilient buildings, countering sea level rise by installing bigger drainage systems and strengthening some of those sea walls like we're already starting to see more around Southeast Asia.
That's right, Jack. And there's also enhancing early warning systems for weather as well, or protecting people from extreme heat, greening cities, slapping those white reflective paint on buildings to bounce away sunlight and reduce heat inside homes and businesses. And also in rural areas, it means developing new crop varieties as farms face harsh conditions. And there's nature-based solutions too. Can't forget about that. Restoring ecosystems, reforestation, protecting these natural areas that absorb carbon.
Yeah, and this COP really is centered and sharply focused on money. And we're not talking billions, but trillions of dollars. And the world is looking for ways to unlock the finances to pay for adaptation and mitigation and the green transition, and as well resolving that loss and damage issue. And I think the genie really is out of the bottle on that, and it's unlikely that developing and climate change vulnerable nations are going to let this go now.
Yeah, absolutely, Jack. And so we'll be keeping an eye on this and many other things here in Sharm el-Sheikh as our coverage of COP27 continues. Back to you in Singapore.
Well, CNA TV's Julie Yu and CNA Digital climate change correspondent Jack Ball reporting live to us there from COP27 in Egypt.